propaganda, by the way. I cannot believe the anti-Semitism coming out of this man's mouth. God damn. His position now is like literally an outdated one according to, well, I mean, his position back then was the correct position. Going to revisit a lot with like how disgusting the New York Times is. Let me just show you something, okay? Remember how the New York Times said that Cenk, this was the line that talked about how the New York Times referenced Cenk, okay? And David Duke. Figures including David Duke. In one clip that circulated on Twitter, and by the way, we know who that person is who circulated this clip on Twitter, purposeful DNC cut up smear merchant Mendoza Ferrer, who uses a fake name to sound more ethnic and does not use her real name, and despite the fact that she did not take her husband's last name, she acts like she took her husband's last name on Twitter to sound more ethnic. Mendoza Ferrer, white lady, was the one who has been circulating that famous Twitter thread, this infamous Twitter thread at this point, that literally says Cenk is a pro-bestiality, pro-David Duke, sexist, misogynist. So, you know, pretty disgusting stuff on there. But what's really disgusting is that the Fourth Estate is supposed to speak truth to power. These guys, these media members are supposed to be the guys who are the arbiters of truth, who diligently and viciously make sure that everything that they're reporting is unbiased and everything that they report is truthful. And they engaged like at the tip of a hat with such overzealous fervor to destroy Bernie and destroy Cenk by to destroy Bernie by attacking Cenk and smearing Cenk and then connecting them together, that they up in a gigantic fashion. Okay, I'm already upset about the misogynistic remarks and saying that like Cenk has not apologized for the crude that he said in the past, and that like he's still actually a misogynist because he defended the Harvard soccer team or something. And a number of other things, dumb things that he said over the course of 20 years. We all say dumb. He's a broadcaster. He's an entertainer who's also involved in politics. But it's especially egregious. This is especially terrible. She called TYT anti-Semitic 20 minutes ago on her Twitter. We'll get to that in a second. But it's especially disgusting that this was the way that they did and covered our boy, okay? In one clip that circulated on Twitter, Mr. Duke ends an interview by saying, "I am not what you call a," to which Mr. Uygur replies, "Oh, no, of course not." What's up, Pogus Champas? They literally put this on the New York Times, like implying that Cenk is pro David Duke, okay? Like, or Cenk is defending David Duke. Now let's take a look at just a clip of that debate, of that famous David Duke debate for a second. Let's see if Cenk was pro David Duke.
That you can't.
David,
how can you think you're not anti-Semitic? How could you possibly think that? You think the Jews control the world? That's anti-Semitism 101.
I'll give you another quotation.
Kagan is on the Supreme Court, but so is Sotomayor, and she's definitely not Jewish. She's Latina. I mean, Kagan made it onto the Supreme Court, but so is Sotomayor. Those are two picks by Obama. Sotomayor, clearly not Jewish. In fact, what is it? I think 7 out of the 9 justices are Catholic. Oh my God, the Catholics have taken over the Supreme Court. Watch out, David. Watch out. It's the Catholics that are the problem. But then you've got the Koch brothers who buy all these politicians.
Why does he keep defending David Duke in this interview that he did with David Duke where he was uncontested? Now, I want to just like say for a brief moment that this is a consistent position that I've had always, that like there are certain people who are very good at dealing with white supremacists. Destiny is a perfect example of this, okay? I would not recommend just any leftist to go out and like try to debate a white supremacist or a white nationalist or someone like David Duke, who is a professional at lying in this way, okay? Cenk is definitely one of those people who's pretty good at destroying these people. And there is definitely a valid reason to have people like David Duke on these sorts of shows, so you can show their defenders and show their supporters how silly they are and how stupid they sound. Destiny does a really good job with this. Cenk does a really good job with this. I do a decent job with it from time to time because I know all the memes, and that's it. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is because you know who's not very good at dealing with white supremacists and end up legitimizing and normalizing them? Mainstream media, okay? Mainstream media calling Richard Spencer dapper, like refusing to admit that he's a Nazi, having him on their shows without like pointing out the fact that they are white supremacists, okay? CNN had Richard Spencer on, and they did not contest them in the same way that Cenk contested David Duke. Cenk didn't have David Duke on to be like, hey man, can you spread your white nationalist and white supremacist propaganda here? No. That's not why Cenk had him on. He had him on to belittle him and destroy him, which he did promptly. Let's watch the rest of this. But then the New York Times turned around and said, man, the New York Times, which wrote about the banality of evil with Nazis, the New York Times, which has done more to normalize fascism in this country and normalize Nazis in this country, turned around and said, Cenk is a David Duke supporter. Holy dude. Holy shit.
They're not Jewish. How does that fit into your conspiracy theory?
So,
I mean, you keep saying Goldman Sachs, but before Blank Fight, the head of Goldman Sachs was Hank Paulson, Christian extraordinaire. The biggest political contributor in the country is not Sheldon Adelson. It is David and Charles Koch. They are enormously Christian. They're Christian.
Seems to me like Cenk is anti-Christian, boys. Of course, now Cenk had this conversation with David Duke, where he pushed back, and the New York Times called him someone who was defending David Duke. Cenk's opponent in CA25, Christy Smith, has now entered the battle from her comfortable perch here, utilizing that same person who's doing the Twitter threads, Mendoza Ferrer. Okay. Until now, I haven't engaged directly with Cenk Uygur, but this is further disqualifying. On behalf of people of faith everywhere, stop calling yourself a progressive. Being a sexist, homophobic, genocide-denying racist is the opposite of a progressive. People deserve better. Cenk Uygur in 2006, Jerusalem is a pain in the whole world's ass. My God gave it to me. No, my God gave it to me. First of all, you all sound like total morons. Second of all, oh, dude, Cenk used to be such a r/atheist edgy boy. Let's see what he said.
God gave it to me. No, my God gave it to me. But first of all of you sound like total morons when you start talking about God's giving it to you. And then second of all, you got nothing but words. Look, bulldozer is my plan for Jerusalem. Bulldoze the whole damn thing so nobody goes back in it. It doesn't have to be extreme in how we deal with our allies. It doesn't have to be either we support them unquestioningly on everything they want, or we abandon them completely. It can be a reasonable middle ground. We don't do everything our allies want, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Turkey or England, except Israel. If Israel says something, it's the law of the land. We have to follow completely. And I'm tired.
Oh, my man, dude, just bulldozed the entire thing. Okay, let's keep going.
I know a lot of people in this country are sick and tired of it. Why?
He doesn't mean it literally, by the way, guys. This is another example of hyperbole, okay? He doesn't mean literally bulldoze Jerusalem, okay? If you ban Zintani, I will never talk about veganism in this chat again. Wait, is that supposed to be pro-banning her or anti-banning her? Because I like your memes.
Why do we have to support the settlements? The settlements are outrageous.
I know, and what gets you is the excuse is always, we need this strategically to protect ourselves. Actually, they tend to choose land that's just the more valuable land.
And
with better water, better location, better groves.
You know what would help you strategically to protect yourself? To go back to the 1967 borders. Okay? Now, people say, oh, sure, the Palestinians don't accept a Jewish state. Well, you don't accept a Palestinian state in the 1967 borders. So? And then, okay, no, but you want to drive Jews. No, I don't. I want two states. I want there to be a beautiful, flourishing.
This is disgusting propaganda, by the way. I cannot believe the anti-Semitism coming out of this man's mouth. God damn. His position now is like literally an outdated one according to, well, I mean, his position back then was the correct position. Back then, people still thought that there could potentially be like a peaceful, amicable solution to the ongoing conflict. Since then, it has become increasingly more impossible, but largely because of the additional reactionary way that the Israeli government has dealt with Palestinians over the course of like the militancy and the right-wing trajectory that the Israeli politics has turned into is part of the reason why it's like now almost impossible to have a two-state solution. Anyway, As I was saying, though, this is like not an insane thing to say at all, not even remotely. And is M. Mendoza Ferrer a bot? No, she is not a bot. She is, well, we don't know if she's like getting paid directly by the DNC, but she hates, or she's just like wealthy lady who sits at home and like sits through or has sat through like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. I assume she's getting paid, but I have not confirmed it. But I do know that she definitely is married to someone in finance and has a class interest in seeing people like Bernie Sanders and Cenk Uygur not in positions of power. And that is what the reason why, that's why she is so overzealous in the way that she is attacking Cenk in the way that she has been. Okay.
Israel that doesn't take Palestinian land. 1967 borders. Do I stutter? What part of that is confusing? No, we have to have certain parts of the West Bank. Then you're going to have war. And I don't want the Palestinians to war. I think they're idiots. I think the way they should go is the way Gandhi and Mandela went. Because it would accomplish, other than the fact that it is a more moral thing to do, it would accomplish their objectives a lot better. Now, having said,
like, this is a take that most leftists will on Cenk for because he's not progressive enough. Cenk's campaign is the lib equivalent of Gamergate. Like, most people will look at this and go, especially like Palestinian activists will look at this and go, this is not a strong position to take at all. Do I think that, like, there are definitely militant elements in Hamas that I disagree with 100%. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sucks to suck. You're going to get mad at me. If you want to get mad at me, you can. But this is the reality. Okay. You can't, like, is Israel a right wing, like Jewish ethno state at this point? Like a theocratic ethno state? Yes. Okay. It's an apartheid state and it's absolutely brutally like murdering and committing disgusting human rights abuses. But having said that, the answer towards that, like fighting back in a militant fashion and trying to fight back against the militant fashion against Israel is obviously not working, and it's not going to work. And I would say that Israel even knows that it wasn't going to work, and it would probably increase their chances or improve their chances in the world stage of justifying their brutality, as long as they can say, hey, look, these Hamas terrorists, man, they're doing terrible things. This does not excuse the violent acts of Israel. But having said that, the reason why I don't really spend a lot of time criticizing Hamas is because, like, no, don't stab people, okay? Don't stab civilians. Don't bomb or shoot RPG rockets at civilians. Sorry, it's just correct. Now, that is minuscule in comparison to the overwhelming brutality, okay, that average Palestinians have to endure. Like, nothing. It's not even it's not comprehensible. It is not comparable, which is precisely why I don't really spend too much time criticizing Hamas, because, like, everybody knows, yes, not good. All right? Libs think both ethnicities should live together, eat chips and lie, except Muslims, which are second-class citizens. Okay. Yeah, but, like, the rock versus sniper dynamic is never going to be acceptable. It's absolutely disgusting. And if you defend it, you're a disgusting person. Sorry. That is disgusting. What the IDF does is it's disgusting. Okay, there's a reason why it's considered war crimes. Okay.
Said that, those settlements have been ripping the Middle East and the whole world apart. And what did the U.S. do? Unquestioningly, right or wrong, yes, more settlements. And this is part of the reason why I think James Baker and George H.W. Bush were brave men. They tried to stop it. They failed, but they tried. And you have to give them credit for that.
But if you really wanted to try, it'd be pretty easy to stop.
So according to you, they should put down the sniper rifles and throw back rocks. According to me, they should stop settler terrorism in the West Bank and stop like putting Gaza under stop the treatment of Palestinians in Gaza. How about that? She's a never Sanders pro Kamala lib who has been slandering Sanders for months now. Yeah. Cenk said George H.W. Bush was brave. Is that what he said?
Stop it. They failed, but they tried. More settlements. And this is part of the reason why.
Who? Mendoza Ferrer? Like,
George,
this person's a psychopath. I'm not going to pay any more attention to her tweets. You guys can go find them if you want. Here, I mean, this is it. Here, look. This is, okay, you want to know how psychotic this person is? This is the person who said, like, Bernie Sanders was a deadbeat dad because he had a child at the age of 29. Fuck off. Okay, not everyone is lucky enough to get married into a wealthy financier's family. Okay, like shut the f up, dude. How disgusting. How disgusting. All right, like literally just like whatever. Might be time to recall how Bernie Sanders shared his own racial stereotypes with children. Remember, this is like all of this shit you see in the news that we all dunk on and we all make fun of is coming from this person, okay? She literally circulates this. She has been circulating this for a while. She's been saying that like Bernie Sanders is for this clip. You remember this?
It had a special odor, okay? That was what went all around, that black people smelled and they were pretty stupid. But that was before Bill Cosby had a best. At that time, black people were not allowed. Television would not allow black people to host national programs. In fact, there was a singer who basically could not be on a national television program hosted because the South didn't like it at that time. Okay, so black people smell. If black people smell, my God, why should they have equal rights? All right, what about Jewish people? What's their thing? How are they different than other people? Yep.
They celebrate America.
Yeah, but that's not, I would say that's not the stereotype. But what makes them? Now, you know, Jewish people...
This is really funny because, like, she didn't even clip chimp it. Like, she didn't even clip chimp it correctly. She actually provided context. The other people that then took this clip chimped it properly and said, Bernie Sanders says black people... yeah, Bernie Sanders says black people smell bad. Like, oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. I remember this. I don't know if you guys remember this as well, but, like, Bernie Sanders is teaching kids... Such a dumbass, dude. Defense use of the uncensored N-word in 1997 memoir critiquing is not. Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, this was the position until like 10 years ago, or until not even 10 years ago. This was a position until like 5 years ago, where like outlets would not bleep out the like N-word in situations where like they would just say it, if they were quoting someone else saying it. So stupid. Doesn't mean that it's like okay from today's point of view. I don't do it. But like, don't act like this is insane to say, or that it's an indication that you are a person. If Mendoza Ferrer gets canceled, will it Thanos snap these smear campaigns in the equilibrium? I don't think it works that way, dude. It doesn't matter. This out there, it doesn't matter who's circulating it. No one gives a fuck. Also, she's like set herself up purposely in this way that like, even if she gets dunked on, no one's gonna give a shit. She is a real person, by the way. She is a real person. I mean, I know a lot about her now. What part of her criticisms aren't over 10 years old? Yeah. So, yeah. So now they're going... Dude, stop sending me this meme by Sir Munchkin, okay? Jesus Christ. What the f is this? Here, what? What is it?